Thank you very much. It is now almost 11 minutes past the hour. They say that when the U.S. economy catches a cold, Canada's economy catches pneumonia. The recession in the United States has sent shockwaves radiating to the north, triggering what some economists say is the worst economic slump in Canada since the Great Depression. Now, the statistics tell part of the story. The gross national product in the U.S. was up a modest 2.4% in the third quarter. Canada's GMP was virtually comatose, 0.9%, I should say. And while the U.S. unemployment rate stood at 7.8% in November, Canada's was at 10.3%. And joining us now to take a look at the problem are from Montreal, Dian, Cohen, a private economist and the former business editor for CTV. And here in New York with us, William Holstein, editor at Business Week International. Good morning to both of you. Happy New Year to you. Ms. Cohen, let's begin with you, first of all. What precisely is causing such a serious slowdown in Canada?
Well, I think that in a funny way, we're getting two recessions, a double whammy. We had a recession with the United States in 1981-82, but the United States took it really seriously and really restructured its economy. You know, Pittsburgh, Cleveland did a lot of things differently, diffused technology. We didn't do that in Canada. We had a recession, but we sort of thought we would just ride it out, and that's what we did. Now we have to do the restructuring that America did in the early 1980s, in addition to having to deal with the present recession. And it's all compounded now by globalization, international competition, and so on.
Mr. Holstein, you see that globalization as being a major contributor. For instance, the slump in the U.S. really played a major part in the slump in Canada?
Well, the Canadians have much more than just a recession on their hands. They have a major competitive challenge that the Americans have begun to face up to, and I don't think the Canadians really have. They have a cost structure that's much higher than ours. Their social costs and what they give to unemployment, their medical benefits, their whole cost structure is much higher. So when they're opened up to the full force of what they must do to compete in the world, they're finding that the shock is slightly greater than we're experiencing right now, because we've been building into this for at least a decade.
Yet Americans, if you ask the average American now, I presume what you're going to hear is that we're in trouble here.
Well, certainly we are, but in Canada, their problem is compounded because they don't agree about who's in charge or what structure their country's going to have, or should Quebec break away, should they break into a different federation. They've got major political uncertainties that hang over them that forces up their interest rates. They have to pay higher, they have to pay more for the money because they can't agree on who's in charge. And
Ms. Cohen, I see you nodding in agreement there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we are looking at this in exactly the same way. I think that, you know, what you have to understand about Canada is that, I mean, aside from everything that Mr. Holstein has said, which I think is absolutely correct, you have to look at Canada and realize that we are really, really dependent on natural resources, oil and forest products and mining output and so on. That's about half of our GNP, and the demand for that is declining, partly because of technology, partly because other people can supply the same products cheaper, partly because, you know, there are just substitute products. So we've got to learn to wean ourselves away from that. And if you look at our manufacturing sector, I mean, our unit labor costs are up about 40% over United States in the last 5 years. That makes us terribly uncompetitive on the manufacturing side. So we look at housing here as one of the things that may pull us out. Then we say there's no growth in family formation, so why are we expecting housing to pull us out? And the same really goes with autos. I mean, auto manufacturing, both our countries faces a somewhat uncertain future. So in Canada, we've just got to understand that value-added jobs and the information, knowledge-based economy is here now. It's not something that's coming, and we really haven't faced up to it. I think we're just starting to.
Mr. Holstein, do you see that late facing up to this problem as being something that could be a problem that lingers with Canada for a long period of time, or is a quick turnaround a possibility here?
I mean, I don't think there are any quick fixes here. This is a major long-term challenge that they face, and there's no easy solution. People seem to think that, well, George Bush or Mulroney can wave a magic wand and make all these problems go away. These are structural problems that we have to work our way out of, and to believe that there's going to be some sort of magic wand kind of solution is just not realistic. This is tough long-term competition with Europe and Japan. That's what we're dealing with here, and we're just beginning. Both our countries are, relatively speaking, in the early stages of coming to terms with that.
Mr. Holstein, Ms. Cohen, we have to leave it there. We thank you both for coming in with us this morning, and a Happy New Year and good luck to both of you.